So these are the Galaxy Buds4 Pro. I've had them for about 4 months now, and I just thought I'd do an overview of what I think about them and where they sit in the totem of all the other Galaxy Buds Pro, and see if they are definitely top of the pops. So let's have a look and see. We'll just close these off, put them to the side here, and we'll put the main attraction in the center here, and just quick open up so you can see them in the case. This is how it looks. We press that wee button, should tell us how much battery the case and how much battery the buds have. No, not working. Okay, don't know why. Let's close that again. Okay, so it's sort of what's that, orange, so which means the battery is on the low side. Okay, let's take them out. And so it's not the case. It has sort of, what's that? Is that sort of like an orangey late amber? Is it? I would say green. So no, the battery case is not actually too bad. I thought the battery power was low there, but it's not. As you can see there, it's on 59. The case is 59%, which doesn't really matter, to be honest. But there we go. Anyway, so this is the black. These are the black versions. Um, so good. I wasn't very impressed when Samsung switched to having the stem um, design, because for I thought, this is very much copying Apple, but everybody says that. Um, these was always my preferred choice. These are the Galaxy Buds that introduced me to Samsung and made me love Samsung products. I'll definitely say these were like my first ever, and I always wanted to try and get the red version of these, the Buds Plus, but I could never get them at a good discount, so I never managed to get them, and to this day it actually nags me that I never managed to get them. But anyway, that's another story for another day. So as you can see, when these are pretty cool. So they have they only have, in terms of feature wise, feature set, compared to the newer versions you see when we go up to the Galaxy Buds. They only had the ambient sound there. You could go to extra, and then you can adjust. That's as far as I remember. But I remember when I first got these and putting them on and putting the amber on and putting them all in my ears and putting them on the highest you can get to. Shout out, actually close and putting them to the highest I can get to, and being able to hear people's conversation in the restaurant. That was quite funny, because you could really, really hear. It was like a boost to your hearing, like you had a superpower, which I found cool at the time. But we're all kids at heart at some points. Um, okay, so man, in terms of sound wise, we're gonna try them out. There's, see, in terms of bass wise, not too bad. Let's see here. This is find my favorite song while I talk about them. Normally love to try. What did I do here? What have I done? Should have get this set up beforehand, shouldn't I? It's Eve, and I think it's not on there. And I like the way this song starts off, because it starts off with the good bass on it, so you'll be able to tell. Yeah, there we go. Uh, let's just make sure this is the highest it is on the volume. Stick the volume up there. See, yeah. So, yeah, so the bass on these, I thought was quite cool. I thought the bass on them was brilliant. I don't know if you can kind of hear it slightly there. Don't know if you can hear it. There you go. But yeah, they still kick a punch. The sound quality was really good on this. Really enjoyed using them. Then we moved on to this, which was which they called the Buds Life, which was like an open ear type of design. Um, they were not bad, but what I found is, again, similar to them, is they gave you, similar to these, is they gave you, after a while you got ear fatigue, and these were really bad at ear fatigue. After a while, they would really hurt my ears. Um, Again, as you can see there, in terms of controls, there wasn't much. You had active noise cancelling, but the active noise cancelling for an open design ear tip wasn't great. It's not the best because it's still letting sound in. They were designed for you to be able to hear everything around you, even though you're walking. Um, but they pack a punch actually when I play that song again. They do pack a bit. I feel they have a better bass, or probably there you go. I was probably shouting there. Apologies. I feel they have a proper they have their proper bass and proper loud compared to the Buds Plus. Um, they were really, yeah, they were good. They were good, but again, like I say, after a while, they really did hurt. Especially, I think it was here at the bottom here because they dig really deep into your ear canal, and they really, after a while, it strains them because it's kind of stretching your ear canal that way. So imagine trying to fit something into a small hole, and then you're doing that and it's pushing in. After a while, it's going to strain. But what I liked about this, again, with this is the case. The case was a glossy, sort of hard shell plastic, um, which you hardly can see scrapes. You do see the scrape here. You can see a scrape there, but come on, I've had this for many years, but they still look fairly newish in terms of if you're just looking at the case. They're not bad. So that was brilliant. And then we went to the Buds 2, yeah, which was sort of like Samsung trying to do a smaller version. But I liked this form factor because they're so tiny, and they're so discreet when they're going when they're in your ear. And we just stick them in there and see what the baseline is like for them. Go again. Yeah, see that's yeah. Yeah. So because not the wrong ones. So because these buds too, because they are so small, they really go really deep into your ear, and they cover, it closes out. And when you put the noise cancelling, you can really feel, you get, it goes silent. There's no, you can hardly hear anything that's happening in the room because it goes really really quiet. So in terms of for noise cancelling, I would say out of the three so far that I've shown you, these would be, these would be top of that, top of the pops for that. Then you got your ambient there. Need to put them in. I keep forgetting to get that. You need both in. Get your uh, get your ambient in, and then you can enhance again. You could go high, low, to switch how loud you wanted to do it here through. So they're quite brilliant, and were updated very well and stuff. And I kept these for a very long time. But after a while, I found they did build quite a bit of earwax in and around the tips. The tips were not the best. I don't think these were the high quality tips because they used to produce a lot of earwax, and there's terrible earwax with them. Again, the case, again, that glossy feel, lovely feel. And I think with these ones is no matter what color you got, they all came in a white case, and then the buds themselves would then be either black or whatever, white or whatever color it would be, but they all came in a white case. Which at the time I didn't really like because I had a black phone, and you always want to try and match these things up. But yeah, fantastic. Then we went from them. Then we went to the Buds2 Pro. Now, these were sort of like Samsung trying to go to compete with the iPods Pros. This was their first sort of like attempt into trying to compete with Apple. And again, you see, I like this form factor. I always liked. I thought this was Samsung's unique design. If you had these, then these say it's Samsung, and then the stem design. If you're looking at the stem design, that was more iPod Apple. And so if you put these in, let's get them in there, and let's see at the base, see how they get on. Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And also these are quite punchy compared to to the three that I've tried there. These would be top. They were just better at everything. They were slightly bigger drivers. Noise cancelling. Let's try the noise cancelling. I can't remember how good the noise cancelling was, but let's find out together. Stick it on that. Yeah, silence. Silence of the lamps type of stuff. Very, very eerie and quiet. And then you see through amplifying ambient sound. Brilliant. So you could, again, you could take the steps and change them ear through. I can actually hear myself speak without having to shout because I've got the noise through pass through is coming through my voice loud and clear in my ears. And then if I do that, of course, and again, dead silence. So the active cancellation was brilliant. Rather than, it wouldn't be like top tier in terms of competing with over ear headphones like the Bosses or you know uh, Apple or Sony's, or the AirPod Max. It wouldn't really compete. It wouldn't compete with this sort of headphones. But for for the tiny form factor of this magnitude, they did the job. They were brilliant. They would keep, they'll do what you need to do. The case on this was sort of like a matte finish, but as you can see over time there, you see the scraps there. The glossy is now starting to come out. Again, these were wireless. You could charge them wirelessly, which was brilliant. But they didn't, which was brilliant. They were good. Let's see. In terms of, I think we see there we only had three, did we? We only had three functions. Yeah, three functions. There we go. Battery in case, So they were brilliant, but they age very badly in terms of, having that matte finish on them. Because after a while, they're getting keyed, falling, getting scrapped. Everything it just really shows. Like if you compare that to that, you'd think these are newer than this, and yet there's about a year's difference between the two. So, so the matte finish was brilliant in terms of it didn't, it didn't slide out of your pocket once it was in. It was in, but it were kind of tricky sometimes depending on your pocket form, if, how small they were, whether they came out or not. But I like the smallness, the small factor of this. Whereas these feel gigantic. This case feels massive, feels really big. It looks, even if you compare the size of that, the form factor definitely looks. This is a nice wee, compact factor compared to the other one. Um, okay. Then we went to the Buds 3 Pro. Now these again, this is when Samsung. These were the original when Samsung definitely went iPod. They tried to copy the iPod Pros definitely with the stem, everything. This like there was no, especially if you got the white versions, they just looked like you had iPod Pros. Um, they were brilliant. The design wasn't the best because, as you can see, they're putting them in the case could be a bit tricky because there's only one way of putting them in, and you have to get it right each time. You can't just drop them in. For example, like with these, you can't just lift up and drop, lift, drop, close. With these, easy lift, and if you want to put them back, you have to line it up, make sure it's right. But we didn't light up on that time. It's a little light, yeah, that light feature there. That light, I loved that way. The lights that came on this, because when I used to use them for running, I would put them in, and I'd go running, and I'd get the, I'd get the lights on, and then because obviously where I am, it used to get dark really quickly. It'll be 5 p.m. and it'll be like pitch black. So if I had them on, I used them as a safety feature, which was brilliant because you could stick them in your ear, go for your run, and cars would be able to see that. It would be like a reflector, so people would be able to see that there's somebody running or there's somebody walking because of the light features. Obviously, you wear other um, bright colors or visor or reflector clothes, so you don't get run over. But that helped. Kind of wish, if maybe Samsung had uh, brought that feature in here and put that maybe like like a space in here for a light so that the light feature shows up on that. That would have been dandy. You know. Now these came with, okay, so you could press this button here. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom there, and that would tell you the batteries of the grain for the it shows you that the buds have good battery. And if you took that out, and if you pressed it, yeah, see it's flashing there. But the battery on this shouldn't be too bad, is it? Please see if we connect to them here. See, Uh, yeah, it's flashing there because the battery is low. Let's see, put that in there. Yeah, 4% on the battery. So that shows the battery is flat. The battery for the case is low, but so that's a good feature to have. Then you can just press it, and then if it's flashy, you need to charge it up. And then if you wanted to connect to another device, if you keep holding that. Actually, I think you need to put the buds in. Let's put them in. Press that, and then should hopefully start flashing blue. Come on, come on, come on! Don't avoid it. Let's see if it'll start flashing here. Yeah, there you go. Starts flashing blue. And then just connect them up again. And yeah, there you go. Lovely graphics there, as you can see. Okay. So these comfort wise, they were not the best in terms of comfort after a while, because like if it's hot, like for example over at the moment it's summer, so you put them on in your ear, and if you started sweating, they kind of slip out of your ear, they slide out, which is not the best, and you always have to try and fidgety to try and get them in, um, which again is also not the best. So let's see here. Let's try them for sound. Yeah, yeah. No, the sound. They don't sound too bad, but in terms of bass wise, actually, let me see. Make sure that the equalize. I've got them on the right EQ, because they might not be. Are they on dynamic? Because all the rest are on dynamic. Let's see. Yeah, they're on dynamic. Yeah, I would say actually the Buds2 Pro actually have a better sounding quality than the than the threes. Um, these, I would say, for me sound much, much miles better than the threes, which is a shame. It was a good attempt, having the stem. I wasn't really sold on the on connect, on the stem design at first, but I found with these, when you have them in your ear and you're trying to adjust them, maybe they can becoming a bit too loose or something, and you're trying to adjust. Sometimes when you're trying to adjust, you end up pausing your music or increasing the volume or something, depending on how. It's just difficult to kind of know where to hold. And then with these, you could just do that without avoiding the stem controls altogether. So it was easier to adjust these than it is to adjust them. And then now we go back now to the um, main event that brought us in. Now, so when I first got these, this is my second attempt at doing this video. The first time I actually did the video, these, I realized that they were so low. These were so low, and then I realized I actually have a 40 pair. I didn't realize it all this time. I just thought, oh, something had gone wrong, but I actually realized I had a 40 pair. So I had actually done a full video, as you can see there. I had done a full whole video on them already. Then I realized that I had a 40 version. So I went and I got just to try out to see what's going on. And I was right. Uh, because I had actually, in my in my original conclusion, I'd said these were not top of the pops. I had said that these gave them a run for these would be top for me, followed by them, and even and then followed by that. But then something just told me something was right. I just need to just double check before I publish, and then I went and I got, like I said, a new pair, and it turns out I was quite off. These are definitely top of the pops. But anyway, so here we go. So um, again, as I was talking with the same design. Now with these are easier to actually adjust in the ear, because, for example, with the threes, sometimes when you're adjusting and you touch the stem, you again pause the music. Whereas with these ones, unless you're literally on it, chances are you're never gonna, you know, accidentally pause or whatever. And then again, it's comfort. In terms of comfort wise, these would be amazing. They are amazing in terms of comfort. In terms of comfort wise, they're fantastic. Let's close you up. they're fantastic. I put them in the ear, and you totally forget that you have them in the ear. Silence, but they're so light, so comfortable. Can go all day with them. I use usually one at a time because I need to be listening out to the wee ones, or I'm doing something else, and then also it just means I have double the battery if I'm using one at a time. It's very rare that I have to use both at the same time. The other thing that I discovered as well is, like I said, these are new, but when I went, people mentioned this. I remember seeing a review where when you're trying to take this out, you had to really be careful and hold here, otherwise you'd rip the thing apart. And I actually did that. I actually ripped it. I went to pull it, and it was stuck. It wasn't budging. It was not for moving. And I went to pull, and I thought I'd got the grip. I even tried to use a wee nail thing to try and get out, and I pulled it, but then it just ripped. So that's that. So I don't know. Again, I'm gonna have to reach out to Sammy and see if they can do something about that. But that's terrible. And now I'm actually afraid to adjust or take off my ear tips just in case it happens again, and then I end up with no ear tips. Um, okay, so and then again, so these now and the three, they came with four options. So you had your off, your ambient sound, adaptive, and then your active noise cancelling, which was your functions, which is it's easier. And then you got again with their threes, and I think the Buds2 Pros. I think possibly the two. I think actually, let me just close that up and just double check quickly. I think you got to see if we, because I know with them you didn't get in, an EQ, but with these the two, no, you didn't get an EQ on the two. Okay, let's see. What about the three? I mean, what about the two Pros? Did you get an EQ there? No. Actually, hold on. Yeah. No, you just. Oh no, there you go. You did. You got an EQ on that, but it wasn't anything fancy. It's not. If you're an audiophile, then it's not a very advanced EQ. So you can set it up how you want. Move them. Actually, can you even move them manually? No, I can't. I thought you'd be able to move that about. No, you can't. It just shows you the EQ that way, but you can't move them. Okay, that's fair enough. But then, obviously, but with the threes, with three here, you go to your side effect, and then you can, with your EQ, you can customize. You can click custom, and then you can actually customize them to whatever way you want. Why is it not letting me customize that? Why is it not letting me customize? I'm not sure why that's. Oh, not sure why that's not. Yeah, there. Oh, it does. I'm just press. Oh, you have to press. So there you go. Sorry, apologies, folks. There you go. Yeah. So you can do that. You can customize them. So you got the original. You got the EQ there. Then I think they kind of made it slightly better on these ones here. Let's just double check that quickly. Where are we? There you go. Sound there. What's down there? There we go. And yeah. So you can. Oh yeah. I see with these. That's what I was thinking. Because that one you have to press bit by bit. This ones you can just go up and down, which is brilliant. Far much more functional for you to be able to do what you want with the EQ. Now, um, then what I then did is I don't know if you can see again. I used this case. Just thought I'd get one of these because obviously you got the transparency there to show the bud, which is a nice wee design, but it feels fragile to me. So I got one of them to protect them, uh, which was fine. I thought, I'm doing fantastic. I'm protecting my buds, but then I realized I am protecting the buds, but I am not really protecting the case because, as you can see, you should see lots of scuffs there. A lot of scuffing on that, which then makes the case look so ugly after all that. But it's all the smoke with dust particles that were going in scraping it. You scrape it, and then I got another for this again with the because of the transparency, so you can see it, which is brilliant, which is fine, and it's a nice feature to have. But I got the speaking case protector here just to protect them, because sometimes I'm out playing football with a wee lad, and if they fall out of my pocket, at least I know they're the hard. This is a hard shell. It's not gonna break. Other than that, they're not just slightly. Don't know if it's feasible on there, so I'll take that off. Yeah, I see there starting to get again micro scraps on that again because of the micro the dust and dust particles going in. So again, you're protecting but the buds are definitely protected, which is the main thing, because without them you can listen, you can play music, and it is the most important thing. The case is the case, to protect. But you lose out on the by putting on this here, you lose out on the elegance of the case, the design, because you cannot see that all day. But you can imagine keys scraping this is quite hard. It's very flimsy here compared to if it was sort of like this glossy finish. It feels very, you know, finished. It's more durable. Uh, but yeah, well, that's what it is. I think we'll end it there. This has actually gone longer than the previous one that I did. So hopefully you learned a thing or two and you enjoyed it. I'd say, look, if you have them, there's no real need for you to maybe upgrade to them or even upgrade to them. If you have them and you're happy with them, there's no real need for you to move up to them. um, I wouldn't really, but if you saw these on a deal and Samsung have got an offer or anybody else has got an offer, then yeah, go ahead and buy them. You're not going to regret it. These are definitely top of the pops. Comfort, features, noise, active noise cancelling. They're brilliant. Actually, I don't think I actually did the noise cancelling here. Let's just stick them on before I conclude with that one. In case fuck to me. You say to me in the comments, "Oh, you didn't touch the active noise cancelling." Here you go. There you go. Yeah, dead silence. Dead silence. So um, that's brilliant. So there you go, folks. Um, hopefully you learned a thing or two there. I'm away to watch the World Cup, and I think France are coming out here because Spain have just gone 2-0 up. So that's going to be fun. Last few minutes or so. Anyway, folks, thank you, and have a good night.